Welcome to LudumCast episode 10.
Oh my god, it's alive.
Oh boy.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Hello, I am the Powerbound. This is Spellhead, and there's also Moon.
Yes, there's also a Swath head.
Yeah.
Swath-bound.
And welcome to the LudumCast.
You know,
There. We have an intro now, it's great.
I have no words.
This is why editing exists, although it probably won't be used,
God.
and your ears will have to suffer.
Yes,
So,
I'm the one who's gonna have to do that.
no, you
The
won't edit
editing.
anything. No, there will be no editing.
Oh my god.
Only
So-
copyright claims.
Yep.
There will be no editing, only copyright claims.
So last episode I was like, you know what? I don't give that show enough respect. I should try to make the quality a bit better. And then this happened.
I mean, you never asked us for our input on that.
True, but you know, I guess I expected some human decency.
Clearly, you expected too much.
Clearly.
That
Okay,
is-
so
No
one thing.
dignity here.
y-
Only
um,
memes.
God.
The Memecast!
Don't say that. Oh, so. Do we do over?
No.
Let's do that.
It's too late now.
One thing
Embrace
I
it.
decided to do is like just give a little overview of like a little table of contents of what's happening. So for this
So,
episode,
memes.
no, absolutely not. We're going to be talking about Subnautica, The Forest, Vermintide 2, the new Warcraft 3 patch 1.29, which is a 15-plus-year-old game, still getting updates, which is pretty great.
Blizzard, why you do this?
Because they care about money, I guess.
Yes.
And Artifact, the Valve trading card game.
Artifact.
Artifact, disappointment in an announcement.
Things.
Come on, did you not see the announcement for Artifact? It was amazing.
Yeah.
A new game by Valve, everyone's super fucking hyped and clapping. All of a sudden, Artifact! Everyone's still thinking, okay, it's not what I expected. The Dota card game, boo!
It was mostly just confusion, but there were a few boos, yes.
There were many boos, it was amazing. Artifact. Okay, it's not Half-Life 3. It's fine. What could it be? The Dota card game. Boo!
I like how you
loved it.
made the announcement of Artifact on our podcast, literally the announcement of Artifact during TI.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Powerhead.
It's amazing.
Well, shall we just get right into it then?
Yes, let's
Okay.
shove it all up in there.
Don't. Thanks for the nightmares.
All the way.
Yeah, all the way.
Don't
Now
enable
it's
him.
also age restricted, so you can't get any money out of it.
I was gonna share that with you, but I guess not. I mean, it's not like this makes any money.
So, beginning in the deep end, all the way down.
How do you do
Holy
this?
fuck.
Subnautica.
How do you do
Yeah.
this? This is
Wait,
a
perfect
talent.
Segue, wow.
Way
It
past the
works.
column now.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm seriously impressed how you just segue into these things so easily.
Well, you gotta take advantage of the momentum.
Yeah, clearly. All right.
Also drink vodka.
Yes.
Guess I should start drinking vodka then.
Do they even have vodka?
Of course we do. Of course we
course
have
you do.
vodka.
Of course
Look.
you do. You used to be French. What was
Look,
I
we
doing?
may have shit internet,
Oh.
but alcohol is something you'll find anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Unlike in Subnautica, which has zero alcohol.
It's all salt water. I hate it.
Yes.
Man.
It made me
What-
die of thirst
This is a
and starvation and death by fish and sharks and some kind of weird psychedelic monster creature. I don't know. It was weird. Holy shit! Someone's dying.
Yep. We have literally killed Spellbound with
Yes.
our shitty segues.
The
Yes.
memes have killed him. The memes killed the man. Rest in peace.
It
Great.
was the memes, Jack.
It was the
Thank you.
memes. Yep, he's still dying.
I had
Yep.
to mute to cuff.
Do I
because
get the LudumCast if you die spellbound, like in like written will?
Sure, I'll give it to you.
Amazing. Sure, that's
Anyway,
nice.
Subnautica.
Yeah, Subnautica.
So
I died.
Have you played it, Powerhead?
I did. I
Okay.
died a lot.
Yep.
For some reason, salt water isn't very good for you.
To be honest, I never died to creatures. I only died by suffocation because I forgot to check my oxygen.
Yeah, I actually died a lot to that as well.
You scrubs.
Well, it's like, oh, it's an amazing underwater world. Holy, everything's so pretty. Why is my screen turning dark? I am dead. You get distracted. It's a great, yeah. It's a great. It grabs you in, like, you know,
it pulls you in.
You're visiting. Yeah, it really pulls you in because you're distracted with all the pretty fishes and the wildlife and all that, and all of a sudden
immersive.
you're dead. Ooh.
I used the buzzword. I used the
the
buzzword.
buzzword.
It is quite an immersive game. It's also an interesting game to play if you have any form of like depth phobia, right?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Because
Does it have VR?
Yep.
Yeah, it does have VR, and
That'd be great to play with VR.
I would be very interested to play that in VR, to be perfectly honest. But you know, VR, not everybody has it.
My girlfriend actually has the salophobia a bit.
The
So
thalassophobia?
it's like thalassophobia. You know, the thing where you fear the.
There's another one which is bathophobia, which is like a fear of the abyss, right? Specifically the abyss. But thalassophobia is a bit more, I guess, general about the ocean.
I would actually guess it would just be the fear of water, but that wouldn't make really much sense, because how do you have fear of water?
I mean, it exists. Hydrophobia is actually a thing.
But this marks the 5th minute we have talked about Subnautica without anyone explaining what the fuck Subnautica is, except it has depths and salt water.
This is why you're on this podcast, Moon. Anyway.
And nuclear explosions as well.
Thank you, that would be $14.99.
Sure.
Wait, you're Slavic. You're supposed to be cheaper.
Fine, or a vodka bottle.
I'll pay you when we get revenue in that video, on that podcast.
Anyway,
so you're a space traveler.
You're a spaceman,
and your ship crashes on the planet, on an alien planet, which is I guess a submerged planet. Yeah, it's all water. So you are specifically inside of a crater, a giant caldera.
Does the planet
I guess
have water but no Earth? We don't know. Don't question it.
I mean, just a lot of water.
Kind of spoilers.
The crater?
What?
Yes, the crater isn't that obvious to start.
Yeah, but
there's actually Earth in Subnautica?
It has no story relevance. I guess it does, sort of, but it's not like...
kind of does.
Never found it.
God damn it, Power. But anyway, you land there, and then you have like there's this like complete alien ecosystem underwater that you have to interact with, and you have to basically survive in this new environment. And the thing here is that it's all underwater. I mean, you have segments that are above ground, but it's the sort of survival game, but it's all underwater. It's a completely new environment. There hasn't really been any other game like that, which I think, at least for me, this was the primary.
No one has ever done this in the history of survival games.
Underwater?
Well, yeah, there are some like more water-based ones.
Yeah, there was this one like you have to build a raft and defend against sharks.
Oh, I remember that one. True. But you don't actually go underwater like you do in this one.
Yeah.
And you're not in an alien planet. You're just like trying to survive in it. You're basically playing the Castaway.
Mm-hmm.
You're basically playing the Castaway.
But yeah,
I remember that.
Subnautica to me was very interesting because it's exploring this environment I'm just not used to, and quite frankly, it terrifies me a bit. So it was getting used to playing that game it took a while, because if I'm just like, I remember one time I was playing, and your life pod that you just start in, I don't know if it can drift anymore, but back in the beta it could drift.
Wow.
And I died and respawned inside of the life pod, and it had moved. And when I went down, I could not see the seafloor below me. I could see some weird giant shapes moving below me, and
Damn.
I just made a new character. I did not want
The
to deal
highlight
with that.
reel of Spellbound panicking on air through Discord voice while playing Subnautica is available at LudumCast for $14.99.
Oh, we're charging for those now. Amazing. Maybe we'll
Man,
actually make
you know
some
what?
money then.
Maybe we should start doing that.
Yeah, pay-per-view Discord clips. It's amazing.
Amazing.
But anyway,
This is a whole new market. Why am I not noting this down? Jesus.
If you would like to monetize our new Get Rich Quick scheme, that would be $15.99.
This is how I get Vermintide.
Only
guys.
15?
This is how I get Vermintide.
Well, per licensed user. I guess we're
Yep.
cheap.
oh,
Yes. We need to be cheap, then we sell more.
do
Or
not sway us with your slap
unit
ways.
yes, or 1 unit of Vermintide shipped directly to the Powerhead.
Yes.
One
We'll get
minute.
to that in a moment.
Yep.
Yes. What was your experience with the game, Moon?
It was a few things I really enjoyed about Subnautica that other games don't really do. It's entirely self-paced. Like, there is a story, there are basic survival needs you need to kind of fill up, not just water, water, oxygen, health, etc., food. But those can be quickly kind of just scavenged by getting fish, and your life pod is pretty much a safe haven with all the basics.
Yeah.
So you can pretty much explore and approach the game however you want. Sure, you're cut off a little bit by depth, radiation, and other things, but it feels very natural. Like the entire exploration process, the way you discover things, the way you get better technology, it is kind of railroad, but it absolutely does not feel like it's a railroad.
Yeah.
The game doesn't rush you about anything. You can spend hours doing just whatever you want.
Yeah, it tries to trick you at one point with the 24
But
hours.
it's a trick. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
If any game's gonna... I'm of the opinion that if any game's gonna have a progression system, it might as well be streamlined. Even if it's pretending not to be. It's always better. I like that about Subnautica as well.
Yeah, the exploration was very interesting to me. It's
Yes.
Okay, from this perspective of someone who's basically terrified of anything in the ocean, going near the kelp forest was a challenge. And going down to the sand sharks was also a challenge. But once I got over these things, the fear of what these fishes could do to me, which is just bite you and be done with it. Finding new areas and discovering new things was how do I put this? It's like you say, it's very, I guess the pacing was very well paced. Oh, yeah.
Well,
It's the pacing is really good. I think the game does things. Yes, and it also has like a build system that you can just construct things, and it uses this sort of nanotechnology construction thing that.
I love that. I love that design. Just a gun that does everything.
Yep.
This is
nanomachines.
What I like. Nanomachines, son.
Nanomachines.
This is what I like about Subnautica, is that it doesn't waste your time with a lot of just annoying stuff that you have to do. It's like you need this and that, and then you have this gun that can just build that for you, right?
Yep.
It's not like the forest, so we're gonna get to that eventually. But exploring the depths, once you get the sea moth, you upgrade it, you get all the progression stuff that allows you to go deeper, the rad suit, the oxygen tanks. You start to discover an almost ethereal world, almost like in the depths.
Yep.
I don't know, I just found that very interesting, and it kept me going. I was so curious to find out what the mystery about that world was. And also, go on.
Do you figure out
Yes.
what's trying to contact you? And
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
You find everything out, and
because I got kind of spooked because like this giant spooky face shows up and says, "What are you?" and then goes away.
Yeah.
And I'm
okay.
like, okay, I'm going to pretend this didn't happen.
One time, this spooky face spoke to me. I'm like, oh my god, psychic aliens on the planet. They're trying to talk to me, right? And then I kept playing like a few days. I fucking love the psychic stuff. But a few days later, I was playing again, and then suddenly this being just like grabbed my attention and like made me move towards him. Like, oh my god, the aliens are finally here. It was a fucking mesmerfish. I got trolled by the game.
Yep.
But
that's
it's
one thing I'd like to mention is unlike most survival games, Subnautica has a you can finish it. It has a ending, a beginning. It has a nice story that goes with the entire thing, but you don't have to chase it. It's just there if you want it. You don't even have to finish the game. You're not penalized in any way for not doing the story.
Yeah,
which is great. It's very much
it's almost like it's a sandbox.
It pretty much is that. Yes, it gives you options and entirely gives to the player how they'd like to approach the game and what they want to focus on. You can just build a base in every biome without doing any story stuff if you really want to.
Yep. Also, it's single player, so if you're hoping of playing that with your friends, unfortunately,
does it not have co-op?
Nope, it doesn't.
Oh,
I think it would have been made better had it had co-op, right? But it's hard to tell.
It would kind of remove the whole fear of the ocean thing. Because nothing's scary if you're with a partner.
It's hard to tell if it would make better, but
because the devs they still do have a public travel board while it was in early access, and at some point it was a high level go on the back burner. Then they eventually decided it's just not going to happen due to technical limitations and the cost, development cost of implementing it. So they just dropped it completely.
Yeah, I know why they dropped it. It's just, I don't know if it's just because I find like deep underwater environments stressful, and I was like, if I had a friend with me, this would be less stressful, right? Or if it's just that speaking, right? Because the game was fine by itself, just single player. I finished it, right? Which to me is just like, I enjoyed the game very much, even if I couldn't play it in co-op. So,
yep.
It's to me the game is novel and interesting enough for it to survive as a survival game in single player, right?
No, I think the single player is fine, and probably single player would be the best way to experience it.
Yeah, because it does enforce this.
It would be nice after you finish the game.
Yeah, definitely. Like playing this game alone really reinforces the obviously the sense that you're stranded on this planet all by yourself, and it I guess it sort of makes the ending a bit more bittersweet. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just reaching, but I don't know. It was a nice game, and I heartily recommend it for anyone who has any wants to explore the depths.
Yeah, I should try and do that eventually.
Yes. Also, Reapers are dicks.
I have no idea what a Reaper is.
Like, if there's a lot of reasons to just try Subnautica, like if you like the depths, if you like single player survival stuff, if you like peaceful exploration, alien and space stories, because it's a very peaceful game.
Yeah, because
it's very relaxing.
As terrifying as I find the depths, just being in the safe shallows, which is this area, the zone in which you start with, just being there was very relaxing. It definitely was.
Yeah.
Like this environment was very, very chill.
Yeah. Look, when you weren't being chased down by the horrific sea creatures.
Most of the time, you're not being chased down. It's just it's the stress of what if, right? It's you have reduced visibility.
It's the fear of the unknown.
Oh, definitely. You have reduced visibility, and this is why I think would be interesting with VR, because when you're playing on a screen, you have a very tight window, a field of view, right? And I wonder if in VR it would be easier to just notice things.
It would certainly, if you have a VR capable machine, just try it in VR. I'm pretty sure the game will be amazing for VR.
Oh my god! Yep.
It looks that it would be perfect for that.
Yep. And if you're in the industry or just like us, curious about gaming and game design in general, Subnautica does a lot of really interesting things that other games don't, or just not to this degree. So it's very much a good case study of how to create a unique experience with, frankly, quite limited resources. Like,
Man, a lot of coughing today.
Yeah, I have this thing stuck in my throat. Let's see if it comes out.
It's like a terrible cough, you know. It's like other things that start with a K. Yeah.
There we go. I think I got it out. No, wait. Konami. Okay. Boy, did that game suck.
Yeah. Your daily dose of fuck Konami brought by Konami cough syrup.
Fucking God. When you have all the tools to make a great game and you decide to do a walking simulator.
Oh man.
And a stabbing simulator. Because that shit was terrible.
Then the painful save SWAT simulator.
Didn't even fucking...
That was just disgraceful.
That was... Wow, we really went from one of the spectrum to the other.
If you want something that is nothing like that shit, play Subnautica.
Yes. Yes. You'll have a better time.
Yeah.
And unlimited save SWATs.
Yes.
Definitely.
For free. And your wallet will thank you.
Yes. No microtransactions.
Yeah. So
go
get Subnautica. It's really fun. If you want a survival, if you want a different survival experience, then there's a person there. Hello, gets shot in face. You should definitely try Subnautica. It's fun.
Also, don't be too afraid. Don't be too afraid of the shark-sized fish. They're not that terrifying.
And some are friendly.
What I really like about the fish, to go off on a tangent a little bit, is they behave like fish. I don't know, I guess like actual animals. Yeah, you're just a thing there. They, unlike pretty much 99% of other games, they're not programmed to home in on you because you're the player character. They just take you as part of the environment.
Yeah,
naturally.
And not everything is hostile to you.
Did you know that most sharks actually don't attack humans?
Yes.
There's a piece of trivia for you.
Yes, so the stalkers could learn a few things from sharks.
Well, you can always just give them what they want.
Oh yeah, if you give them scraps, metal scraps.
Spoilers for me.
No, just literally just give them fish or scrap and they'll be friendly towards you.
Yes, you can feed the fish.
Amazing.
With fish.
I didn't know that.
With fish, yes.
And here I was eating the fish. Amazing.
I mean, you can do both.
You can eat the fish while the fish eat the fish.
Can you mate with the fish?
God,
I think that's a different game, Powerhead.
Yes. I think it's a movie, though. Didn't it win an Oscar or something?
Wait, what?
Wow.
Guillermo del Toro is a furry, what?
Oh, that... That's true. She did mate
when
with the
they
fish.
have scales. When they have scales, it's called a scaly.
So The Forest is a game.
Yes.
The Forest is a game where you have
Forest
no
isn't as good as
chaos or furries, but you have naked cannibals.
Yes, with
Yes.
dongs.
They
Which
don't
I
have
Yeah,
dongs,
yes.
actually.
Yeah,
Then
they
they're
just
freaks,
have
then they're
tits.
freaks of nature.
They're Ken dolls.
Yes.
They're Barbie dolls. Yep. They're mutants. I
Aren't
mean, they
there,
are
like-
technically mutants, so.
Yeah,
I guess.
aren't there like some cannibals that are just a bunch of legs or something?
Yes.
Those are actual mutants.
Yeah, those are actual
That's terrible.
mutants.
There's a
That's
difference
terrifying.
which Hydra will never fucking learn, but there's cannibals and mutants.
Yes.
And they're
Wow.
different, goddammit.
He just calls all of them mutants. Oh my god, mutants!
Well-
Like where? Where? This is a cannibal. Yeah, mutant.
Cannibalism
No.
isn't a mutation.
Yeah, mutants visibly look like mutants.
Yeah, because they have 6 legs or something.
Yes, the Virginia has 6 legs. The Armsy has 6 arms, I guess. And
And
then
then
there's like
the
a,
ramming thing, which is
yeah,
the thing.
I think something cow
Terrifying.
something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
So the Forest is another survival game, but that's all pretty much the entire similarity it has with Subnautica.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. This time you're in a forest. You're in a plane crash. The plane crashes in a forest. I forgot to mention.
Oh, okay, I guess it has two similarities. The beginnings are both with flying things crashing.
Yes. You're,
Yep.
you're in a plane. Your son is next to you. The plane has an accident for some reason. The plane crashes in a forest filled with cannibals and mutants for some reason. It is your
Yes.
job to find your son that was kidnapped by
By
the
a cannibal. A cannibal, like painted in red, just stares at your son and picks him
Yes.
up and just
just
leaves.
Unlike Subnautica, the Forest is also not finished yet. And while it has a story, and I think you can finish the game, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, we haven't finished
It's,
it, so.
I don't
very
know who
much-
you are. I don't know where you are. I don't know where to
Yep.
begin searching, but I will find you and I will kill you and eat
the-
you.
That is pretty much how you would try to find the story in the Forest. It's
Also-
kind of there, but needs to
Yeah,
be fleshed out.
it's interesting. I mean,
It's
I
more
guess
like
that
a
would be
goal instead of a story.
I guess that would be a spoiler for me to say, but there's a reason why you can build the things, build all these buildings, these wooden buildings, or why you survive so well in that forest. There's a reason why.
Because the cannibals
Yeah.
come for you.
I'm not going to say why because
other reasons, but yeah, won't
What?
mention those.
there's a reason why you can know how to build a wooden cabin and things like that, or traps, or
Okay, fine.
Yes,
I'll
yes.
say it because I want to make this point, since
Okay.
it's one of my pet peeves in games, and I'm glad the Forest actually gets away with it successfully. So, spoiler alert for the Forest.
Wow.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, okay. Are you done? Okay, go away if you don't want to hear it. So, the main character in the Forest is actually the star of multiple TV shows on survival. So, it's literally his job to be fucking Survivor McG.
Oh my
and
god,
be
the
able to
forest
make-
stars Bear Grylls.
Yep,
Yes.
you're literally Bear Grylls,
yep, with a
Amazing.
pretty
kid.
much. With
Can you
his
drink
death.
your own pee?
I don't think so.
No, you kill turtles,
0
collect
out of
their,
10.
use their shells as a bowl, and collect rainwater.
0 out
Yep.
of 10. Would not buy.
Yeah. They might add that later on, so
Ah,
we'll see.
okay.
Yes.
Still in early access.
Still in
Yes.
access. We don't know. We don't know what kind of Machiavellian survival techniques they're gonna put in the game.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. That's fine.
And as a last resort, you can mod it in if nobody else does it. I think there is mod support, so
Yeah,
Bear
Powerhead.
Grylls mod.
If you
Do
want a pea purifier mod, you can make it.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
I'll
You can
just pee in this jar and then I'll turn it into water magically. But you just drank
Yes.
it.
But it will turn into
yeah.
water into his stomach, maybe.
So are you Adam Jensen with a water purifier in your stomach now?
I never asked for this.
I mean, nobody will ask for this.
I mean, it's not very that efficient, I don't imagine, but it still has water in it.
My pee is augmented.
God damn it. Non-machine, son.
Nano machine.
Well, maybe the two games are similar after all.
Right,
Yeah.
see.
But not the way that you build stuff.
We're
So-
amazing. We're able to find.
Yes.
In both
find all
Subnautica and the Forest, you have blueprints that you place down and then you fill them with materials. The difference, I guess, is that in Subnautica you can have a lot of stuff on you, a lot of material on you, and you can just build them, right? But in the forest, especially if something requires logs, you have to chop the trees and they fall down and magically split into logs that you then carry 2 at a time, right? I guess you could say the forest is a lot more quote-unquote realistic.
It tries to be realistic in a very specific way, which is very unique. Haven't really seen it done before. Since it, it's the one game where you have a giant ass inventory and you need it for everything, like every other survival game, and to craft shit. But it's not a grid. It's not icons. Your inventory is actually physically represented, or like when you open the inventory screen, it literally pretends that your character is opening up their bag and just throwing everything on the ground on a little sheet, which is really, really neat, if kind of wonky. Yep.
The issue I have with that is that when you have giant structures that requires 170 stones or like 80 logs or whatever, it makes it annoying.
I mean, yes, but unlike Subnautica, the forest is very much a more hardcore survival
It
thing.
definitely is. It definitely is.
And
it's for
unlike
the more...
Subnautica, it also has multiplayer. So if you wanna build giant forts, get friends, or you will die,
Slave
or at least
labor.
your finger will die.
Slave labor.
Yep.
Pretty much.
It's literally what happened to me. I'm in indentured labor.
Yes.
I was like,
you will work or you will get
gift you the forest and
throw him into the canals.
You will play it with me. And I ended up and the first thing we did when we played was build a giant fucking wall, stone wall.
Amazing.
Which turned out to be very inefficient, but we did it anyway.
I will build a wall and the cannibals will pay for it.
They did pay for it with their lives.
They did.
Oh yeah, you can build stuff with the body parts or something, right?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Our friend Hydra is
you need to put some of the effigy screenshots on your blog. You have to.
Oh my god. This is gonna be the splash screen for this episode.
Yes.
Just disembodied
the centaur effigy. The centaur effigy would be perfect.
The centaur. That's an affront against nature.
Much like our podcast, so it's perfect.
Wow.
Yes, it's amazing.
Thanks.
It's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Damn you. Okay. What else can we say about the forest? Are we done?
It's not finished.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
That's
okay. Yes, definitely. It's in early access, so if that's not something you want to risk, you don't want to...
But it has potential.
And, it definitely has. I'm not...
And unlike 90% of survival games on Steam, it actually has a countdown to the next patch. So that's a plus.
Yeah, I mean, the forest has very high certainty it will actually get completed into a pretty decent game. But I'd say right now, for me at least, because Hydra roped us in, a mutual friend roped me and Spellbound into playing it. For me, there's not enough right now. Like, the core gameplay loop is kind of there, but it's very bare bones, and the caves, which are the other major part of the game, and are kind of mini dungeons where most of the story is located, they feel too disjointed at the moment from the core game and just exist as a thing. But I don't know, it still needs a lot of fleshing out. I'd say maybe at least I would be surprised if they launch it like in the middle of this year. But in this state. I'd say it needs until the end of the year at least to be actually completely finished.
I can definitely agree with that.
Subnautica and the Forest are very much outliers to the whole survival
stuff.
game
because we don't play
genre.
These games. We don't generally do not play survival, and these two were basically they caught our attention because of how different they at the very least how different they felt from the rest.
Yep.
So
maybe it's because they have teams that actually care about making a good game instead of just throw anything on Steam and then updating it every 6 months.
Yeah,
Shade.
yes.
Rust.
It's very much
H1Z1.
games that use the survival mechanic properly for a unique gameplay
Actually,
experience.
H1Z1 doesn't deserve that because it actually launched after 4 fucking years.
Yeah.
Was it
Yeah.
4 years or
do
5?
people still play that? Isn't that like a battle royale game now?
It is now, yeah.
It became a battle
that.
royale game. Which is amazing because it went from being like a survival game from when survival games were the hype to becoming a battle royale game when battle royale games are now like
I
the
mean,
number one thing.
the survival games and battle royale bollocks and that entire meta rant probably deserves its own entire episode at some point.
Oh my god.
Pretty much.
I do
Yeah.
not. I fundamentally do not understand battle royales. I mean, what's interesting
it's
about
a
it?
thing.
Well, it's the way I can the best way I can describe it. It feels nice because you drop into a huge map and everything's all fun and good, but then the map starts to get tiny and your butthole starts to clench a lot,
Your buttholes gets tinier.
and it's like, and that's the fun part, pretty much.
I guess this is what I
Yes.
don't understand. I sort of can see it, but I guess
It's
it's
all
not my
pressure
type of
thing,
game.
you know?
It's just
Yeah,
not
it's
me.
I have bad news for you. Remember when Dota 2 became a really big thing and 3 kind of had a big resurgence and Smite happened and you were basically, what is with all this MOBA shit? I don't understand the genre. Well, you're gonna have Take 2 of that, but even bigger with Battle Royale
With
and
Battle
PUBG.
Royale.
So
Yeah.
have fun.
Well, actually,
Barf.
PUBG has actually already been dethroned
Has it?
by Fortnite.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
really?
I don't even want to get into this. Holy shit.
Yes, more people play Fortnite now than they do PUBG.
Yeah.
You know the Fortnite that had nothing to do with Battle Royale, but Epic was like, we can't let all this money go to waste. Better make fucking Battle Royale.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Fortnite.
Well-
this is the thing that is the building.
But
the
what about
non-
what about this MOBA we were developing? Fuck that! Transfer the team. Come on, make money. Chop chop.
Wait, it was a MOBA?
Yeah, the
Paragon. Yeah.
Paragon died
Oh,
because
oh.
Fortnite.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Paragon
yeah.
died because they wanted Fortnite to make money.
Oh
Pretty
man.
much.
pretty much.
This is the thing that Fortnite, when it was initially announced, I was like, oh, this sort of like quote unquote
You know-
zombie game with a building element to it sounds really interesting. Like, to me,
Yeah, it
this
sounds interesting on paper. Metal Gear Survival.
Yep.
but you know what I mean, right? It's like it's
Yes,
like with Dying Light, this parkour plus zombies just
Yeah.
sounds like
And
a
like,
winning
look,
formula. And to me, building plus zombies, like building a fort to protect yourself from the zombies, sounds like a good formula. But the way they did it is just, I don't know how to put it. It's like you went completely overboard.
Yep. And
I guess.
personally, I feel completely vindicated and I'm really glad by this because ever since the announcement of Fortnite, I was extremely skeptical and
Yep, I
my
remember
every
that.
impression was this is a design pipe dream. By the time this is playable, it's going to be way too late and everyone will have moved on and this is going to be a complete mess. And
Yep.
I was 100% right.
This is
You were
exactly
one
what
of the.
happened.
Congratulations. Here's vodka.
Yes, but Epic, in the most fucking amazing heel turn of the industry on how to make money out of pure garbage, made it into the most successful battle royale game on the planet somehow.
Yes.
So-
So there you go. That's why.
being free is a big plus for Fortnite
Yep.
Battle Royale.
So this is why your resident Swath Moon is sitting at his computer with a bottle of vodka and Epic are making millions of dollars, even
Moon.
though I was fucking right the entire time.
Moon. If you wanna be right again, remember Paladins?
Yes, that I was also extremely skeptical of.
Yeah. Well, Paladins has a Battle Royale mode now.
God
Oh.
fucking damn it.
Oh god.
Yes.
Is this my curse, Mike? Your game will not be successful. Not in the current state, but as a battle royale. Fuck's sake.
Paladins does have a Battle Royale mode. I have no idea how the fuck you do a Battle Royale with a hero shooter, but they did it.
Well,
And it's 100 players in a big ass map that goes shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. It's every other battle royale game on the market right now, except with heroes from a hero shooter.
My God.
I have no idea how this is supposed
How
to
does
work.
that even work? Like,
I don't know. I guess you can select the healer. I don't know. It
But,
makes no sense.
It's fuck, battle royale is inherently a shooter, and the shooting in Paladins is garbage. Like, what the
Damn.
fuck, man?
damn
It
shit.
really, it's why I stopped playing it. Like, I wanted to try it, because I like Hi-Rez. I respect them as developer. They made an awesome shooter. Tribes was great. I was
Yes.
really
Ah.
disappointed
Yes,
that Tribes died.
Tribes Ascent was amazing. I loved it, and I was really sad when I heard the servers
Yep.
were shutting down.
So,
I
like,
was really sad.
they're a developer with a proven track record that they can make a unique and really enjoyable shooter with great shooting, and they made the Overwatch slash MOBA slash hero shooter with garbage shooting that is now a battle royale. What? Why?
Now has a battle royale mode.
The fuck? Like,
And I
how
think it's
did
more
this
popular.
happen?
Because they
Money.
needed to make money. Because Overwatch has all the money. So
Money,
they
money,
needed
money.
to make money. So they decided, hey, what can we do to get money? Well, there's this thing called Battle Royale that's making money. We can like make money with that. Okay, let's make money, people. Chop chop. And in 4 fucking weeks they released the Battle Royale mode.
My God. To be fair to them, Paladins was in development before Overwatch got announced, so
There was, but it was nothing like Overwatch.
yes.
Nothing like Overwatch. They
Technically, like,
changed when Overwatch was announced. They changed the whole game completely. I remember footage from like the early beta stuff before Overwatch had been like Overwatch has only like had only like that trailer where Bastion still had the fucking shield in Sentry mode and everything.
oh
It
God.
was a really early. It was the first trailer. It was the BlizzCon trailer, and like Paladins went into beta, and like it was a completely different game than what it is right now. Completely different, and they just changed everything up when they got scared with Overwatch.
This is what I fundamentally never liked about Hi-Res. They are very quick to like jump the shark and just change things when they see the market changing, which I probably is successful for them as a business, but constantly makes me question the respect I have for them as developers, because they've only stuck with Smite. Everything else they've tried to make, fucking card games. When Hearthstone got popular, they pivoted Paladins to be a lot more like Overwatch. Now they're pivoting it to be like PUBG. And their one really successful design, which was, the revival of Tribes, they abandoned. Even though it wasn't actually dead, it could have been fixed. They later came back to it and even did the work to fix it, but it was like a year with no updates after they decided, well, maybe we shouldn't have abandoned this. And I kind of half-heartedly tried something, which was nice, but still, what the fuck? So whoever is doing product management or product lead or whatever decides what the studio is gonna work on, get your shit together. Just consistency, man. Consistency. Stop it. Stop.
Yeah.
So the forest.
Yes, the forest.
Yeah.
It's in early access. You can get it on
Just to add to the forest. I haven't played it in a while, because I guess the lack of content sort of caught up to me, right? And I guess I'm just waiting for just more stuff to happen to it. Me and Hydra, we built a massive complex on a waterfall. It was a lot of fun, but once that was done, I just sort of didn't know what the hell to do. I know I have caves to explore and stuff like that, but yeah, I guess the game just needs more. It's lacking in content at the moment.
The same boat. I just got to that point a lot quicker because I'm not really much of a big building project guy.
Yeah.
But
me and Hydra
if you just want to try something unique and unlike us, who are kind of getting on one game and just spend a shit ton of hours on it until we decide
Vermintide.
it's done. Yeah, Vermintide. if you're not that kind of person and can enjoy it in small doses over a large period of time, you're probably gonna get a lot out of the forest and catch a lot of content updates as you go, unlike us. So it would be a better value proposition. But in both cases, if you want to try something that is kind of out there and different than the general survival stuff, the Forest and Subnautica. Subnautica is obviously the better recommendation because it's finished. Yeah, and unlike the Forest, we don't really have any major complaints about it. There are some small problems, but they really don't detract from the experience.
Definitely.
What he said.
All right. So before we move on to the next topic, let's take a quick break. I just need to verify some things. And then we'll move on to Vermintide.
We shall take a rat break.
And then there shall be rats.
Why are you? Why are any of you?
Rats.
If you would like to hire Powerhead for your indie game, please send the Steam key of Vermintide to the Powerhead.
Yes, he'll voice act rats for rats.
Prices cheap. All need Vermintide copy.
He will voice act for one unit of rat.
1 unit of rat.
All right. Let's go to that break.
Rats.
Welcome back to LudumCast, people. Vermintide 2.
Rats.
Right on cue.
So many rats. Where are many rats. All hail Great Horned Rat.
Thank
By
you.
the Great Horned Rat, we shall destroy the surface dwellers.
He really wants that job, guys. So, Vermintide 2 came out on the 8th, which is something like 4 or 5 days ago. We've been playing a lot of it, I have to say.
And for once, we are topical, as in we're not ready to talk about something. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's right on cue.
I think they got it. Yeah. Okay, so
There's so many rats.
I played both Vermintides, right? But I just couldn't get the hang of Vermintide 1, and I still think that I don't really get it when it comes to how other people can play, and they just do so much better, right? And I think it has something to do with the fact that
They're not shit like you.
Are you quite finished?
Almost.
It has something to do with
Jesus.
yeah, that's
The price of rats.
that's the price of rats.
That's a lot of
Anyway,
rats.
I was watching some champion playthroughs and stuff. It's like maybe I just don't block enough, which I think is to me is like you just have to constantly be blocking all the time, and it's just not intuitive to me. But maybe it's just like a learned thing that I need to sort of get over. But I've been actually having fun with the game, which was not the case at all with Vermintide 1. But anyway, just sort of Vermintide is this co-op horde base. Why is it horde base? Like you have a level, you go through a level, and you will have horde. It's like Left 4 Dead, but in the Warhammer Fantasy universe.
No, don't say that. No, it's not.
No. But it is though, because you have this level you go through, and there are hordes that sometimes come attack you. But
yeah, but that's really like not how. Fine, whatever. Too late.
Yeah, but it clearly began like the idea of Vermintide was pretty much what if we did Left 4 Dead with
it's a
rats.
lot different. To be fair, it's I guess more involved. I'm trying to find a word to describe the difference, but you have your 5 different character classes you can pick from, and each class has their speciality. For example, the dwarf is really good at. I was about to say dwarf. The dwarf is really good with the specific Ironbreaker class for the dwarf is good at tanking. So the dwarf will be able to just draw all attention to him, while the elf or Carillion or Sienna will dish out all the damage. Well, I guess Saltspire is also really good at damage. I guess they're all good at that, but depending on what specific sub-class you pick. Anyway, each classes have professions, like specializations that you can select. I play the Bright Wizard a lot, and the Bright Wizard has three classes.
Heresy.
I mean, how dare you? The Battle Wizard is your default class, and she has a special ability. So all characters now. Wait, did they have special abilities in Vermintide 1? I don't remember that.
No, they did not.
Yeah, so they did not have special abilities in Vermintide 1. In Vermintide 2, each character has a special ability, and depending on your chosen specialization, the ability will change. Sienna's first one for the Battle Wizard is like a teleport. She teleports forward and leaves a trail of fire. The second one is like a homing missile that bounces between targets. And the third one, the Unchained, she can create an explosion of fire and vent all her overcharge. And all these three classes play very differently. Especially the Unchained. The Unchained is so weird. I just don't understand how you to play as the Unchained. But I find that these tweaks, these additions to the game, and also the fact that it seems much slower than Vermintide 1, and I don't know, it's just more impactful in general. The game just feels
they
better.
did slow it down and definitely made it feel weightier and more grounded, which is
better too.
nice. Yeah, it also looks a lot better. And one thing I kind of only now noticed after we've played all the levels, the actual physical space that you get to play in is not really that much bigger than Vermintide 1. If anything, maybe it's roughly the same. But the level design and just the variety of levels visually is a lot greater. And visually the levels are a lot more open and varied. It's not just, part of town, part of small forests, cavern nests, sewers. Sure, there are those, but even in those, they've put a lot of effort into making the various part of the level visually distinct and just upping the game graphically in terms of just level design and
Yeah, the
vistas you get.
Aesthetically, the game is much superior than the first one.
Yep.
And we were playing this map earlier today, in like dwarven ruins. I guess technically they're ruins, because they're sort of taken over by Skaven stuff. And it was open, and there were a lot of a lot of corridors and just it seemed confusing at first glance. But as you progress through the level, the pathways that you could take felt very natural. I haven't really looked at the map in depth or anything, but to me, this just it's like a hint of a rather good level design.
Yep. I got lost a few times in Vermintide 1, and often it was hard to find my way just because the levels were very same-ish looking.
Yeah.
In Vermintide 2, I have that problem only in one map because there's a lot of vertical traversal, and I'm really bad with that. Otherwise,
are you talking about the Nurgle?
No, I'm talking about Empire in Flames, where you blow up a manor. I pretty much always get lost there.
Oh yeah. Okay, true. That map is the sort of exception to the rule, I guess.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think the game is upgraded on every level. To me, this is just a superior game to Vermintide 1.
I mean, mostly there are issues like if you are a Vermintide veteran and you remember the first Vermintide's launch, it was a mess. This one is less of a mess, but it's still kind of a mess. Honestly.
One thing I noticed is that some rat specials don't
Die.
Yes, I wish they would do that, but sometimes, like the Packmaster, the hook rat, sometimes just appears and hooks you, but you never heard him coming.
Yep.
Right? There's like a sound desync, so there's stuff they need to fix. Definitely.
I got you now, man thing.
Yep. Sounds desync, sounds keep whooping. You can disconnect at the end of the game. Host migration is still the same one from the first game. The terrible one where your host disconnects at the end of the level. you restart the entire level. You're
Oh,
fine.
that's so bad. That's so bad.
A lot of things you only notice if you play a lot, or if you play a lot of quick play with randoms. You just there's these things in the network code. There's still a bit of lag issues with when I'm not the host or when Spellbound was the host, because he has pretty shit internet. For him, everything was fine, but for me, rats were teleporting and moonwalking and phasing through my hits the entire time. I had never been so miserable playing this game as that one match. It was infuriating.
Great one, rat magics.
Yes.
Literally lag magics, basically.
Look, Hydra was the one who was like, "You should host." Okay, you should blame him.
Yeah, never again.
Like, I know it's a bad idea when I host. It's just
Where's your internet now, man thing?
On the bright side, they are planning dedicated servers, which the first game never had, but in April.
oh yeah, dedicated servers. I'm
April Fool.
waiting for that. April Fool.
So I am
God damn
quite eagerly waiting for dedicated servers.
I want rats.
Give me rats.
Also,
Yes, Powerhead is the one person that really wants rats.
doesn't have it. That's a lot of e-begging right there. But one thing I'd say is that your sort of hub-based Talskeep, it feel to me is just I have sort of flashes of Wolfenstein 2009, where it's like you have this. Technically, I guess it is, but it's not physically connected. You have to go through a thing and you teleport to the mission. But as someone who loves single player, I will say this area gave me a lot of like, this game could make a fantastic single player, right?
Yeah. And I'm gonna get on a soapbox here because I've been reading the Vermintide Reddit and comments about the game and whatnot a lot. And this annoys the shit out of me, like seriously, people. So there's this kind of, I don't know if it's a minority, but this argument that Vermintide's characterization is, bad. That there isn't any, that the story is really bland, etc., etc. Like, first off, it's not really a story game. You go out, you do the level, you kill rats. There is a kind of story going through it, and the objectives make some sense in the Warhammer world. There is a beginning point and an end point, but it's not an RPG, even though it has RPG elements. But what really gets to me is people say the characters are bland, the world is bland. Like, that could not be further from the truth. This is one of the best. Yeah, I've read that.
Who the fuck says Warhammer is bland?
No, the characters, but the characters are not. Have you met the elf?
I mean, it's subjective taste, but Vermintide is one of the best realizations of the Warhammer fantasy world in a non-strategy perspective. And Fat Shark, especially with the Keep, and in general, do so much visual storytelling through the levels, so many little details that highlight the world, what has happened, what is going on. The Keep changes multiple times as you progress through your character levels. They get their own rooms with all kinds of little nifty details highlighting who they are. Like, if you like that kind of more subtle storytelling, there's a lot going on here. And sure, there are the visual quips which you'll get tired of and ignore over time, but there's a lot of them. The voice acting is good, the characterization is good. Even if you really start hating Wumberfoots and Mayflies, it's not that bad, honestly.
No. Yeah, it's just Carillion being Carillion.
Yeah, it's just that the elf is you either love her or hate her as a character, but still a very distinct personality. And like, all of that is completely superficial to the core gameplay of the game. It won't affect your gameplay enjoyment in any way. But I wanted to highlight this because Fat Shark are a very messy developer. I mean, all these bugs that we said, there are multiple other bugs. There's talents not working. There's a lot of quality of life improvements that need to be done on the inventory.
I think talents need to be balanced too.
Yep.
Some of them were
I mean,
completely useless at the time.
and there are a few that just don't work. Like one of the Witch Hunter talents is pretty much reported to not work like 80% of the time. Yeah,
I need to stop playing the Witch Hunter.
He's interesting.
Hmm.
But what I want to point out is they have a lot of passion for this game. There's tons of detail in
you
it,
can
and
you can see there's passion in that game.
they supported Vermintide 1 from its launch literally until the launch of Vermintide 2. Like the last Vermintide 1 DLC, which was an entirely new mission, which is quite lengthy with a lot of content in it, came out like a month ago. That on the rank, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Good
like,
on them.
If you want a polished experience and you don't have a group of friends that can, just laugh along with or just, restart the level if something breaks, maybe wait a bit until they fix the major bugs with that and implement dedicated servers. But if you're a fan of Vermintide 1 or aren't that bothered by this, or you're a fan of Warhammer Fantasy, definitely get Vermintide 2. It's a major improvement in most areas, and I really have faith in Fat Shark that they'll iron it out and support Vermintide 2 just as they did the first game.
Here.
Good developers are good. A good game is good, and I want it so much.
Now,
Well, I don't think I can say anything else.
I actually wasn't
covered it.
expecting. Yeah, I actually
That was
wasn't
pretty nice,
expecting it to be released this soon. Like when I heard it was going into closed beta, I was very excited. But I wasn't expecting it like 2 weeks later for it to launch, and it launched pretty well, right? Apart from those minor issues
I
you
mean,
guys had.
depends who you ask, right? The launch was delayed by a few hours. The servers died after launch. Like launch night was not really a time you want to be playing. It was a bit like a World of Warcraft launch.
Well, to be fair, World of Warcraft hasn't had a bad launch.
Well,
Expansion.
the old World of Warcraft launches.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, it's been bumpy. There's definitely issues. There's these things. There's like in one of the maps a specific pretty important animation press only for the host. For everyone else, a bunch of trolls just topple over for no reason. It's kind of hilarious.
Oh man. Also, when you do deeds, not only deeds, but sometimes when you finish missions, you just get no experience and nothing. It happened only once to me. I don't know if they fixed it, but
it's happened multiple times to me. It's quite infuriating, especially if you're doing a deed. You actually complete the deed, and the deed is gone, but then you get nothing. That's really annoying.
Yeah, it happened to me yesterday. Yeah, yesterday.
Yep.
So,
but I'm sure they will iron that out in time.
Yeah. Having mentioned Warcraft earlier,
I
was going to segue into the other one.
Is this just a ringing recommendation of Vermintide with a little bit of buyer beware if you don't have a tolerance for bugs?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty objective assessment of the game, as it is stated right now. The only thing I'd say is that the game, to at least to me, it wasn't very obvious how you're supposed to play that properly. So I guess there's a minor learning curve there, but
I'd say the learning curve is quite big, especially if you're not a veteran of Vermintide 1. Like, it's better, and
I mean, you said it yourself. When I was playing Vermintide 1, I was a complete trash at it, but I got a lot better.
Gotten better, a lot quicker. Like, it's better at giving you feedback when you mess up than Vermintide 1, but it's still very much learn on your own and trial and error if you're not a Vermintide veteran. So if you in general, it's best played with a group of friends. If you have friends that played Vermintide 1, definitely play with them because they'll know what they're doing and they'll know the more obscure game mechanics.
Yeah, and if they play the elf, they'll get top score all the time.
Yep. If you're completely new, just look up a quick YouTube tutorial or a guide on Reddit. Definitely, it's not a game you want to go into blind, and there's a lot of obscure mechanics that Fat Shark never really bothered to explain, like what are those? Why does picking up a weird book take away your hit points? What does it do? Why does picking up a potion after you pick up the book make the book disappear? None of this is explained. This kind of a Fat Shark thing. They just don't do tutorials.
Yeah, definitely watch a video on YouTube. It's not just for these more obscure things, but just so you can see how the guy is playing the character. Like sideways dodge are so much more effective than they appear to be.
Yep.
This is literally how you survive. You block and you dodge sideways. But even then, you have to be aware of where you are in the level, where your teammates are, blah blah blah. It's just, I guess it would be the would it be the Blizzard thing of easy to learn, hard to master?
Pretty much that. Like Recruit is very much you're gonna have a fun time just swashing through hordes of rats. If you're a Vermintide veteran and know what you're doing, it's gonna be just a cakewalk. And that can be a bit annoying because I was ready to play veteran a lot earlier than my power level was ready for veteran. But once you're past that minor problem, you're gonna enjoy the game regardless whether you're new or a veteran.
Alright then, so anything else to add about Vermintide 2, or shall we move on?
I want it.
Yes, Power wants it. If you do not have any friends that play Vermintide with, but want to play it, send Powerhead the game and a friend request. He will play it with you. He will fucking play it with you.
Yeah, all 6 of you that watch these videos and or listen to the podcast, just hit me up on just hit me up on Steam and hook me up. Yeah, thanks, fam. I feel like such a whore.
I mean, you are.
Yes.
I'll play with you.
For the low price of 1 unit of rat.
Yes.
For the low price of 1 unit of rat.
So Warcraft 3 got a new patch.
Oh, right. Yep. This happened.
Yep. It's not out yet. It's in PTR right now. The reason why this patch is pretty significant is that, well, I guess it has a lot of significant changes to it, but it's not just a gameplay patch thing. It adds, so Warcraft 3 is, I guess, is still alive up till this day because it has a thriving modding community.
3. Yeah, exactly. That's more.
Yep.
I don't think it has a thriving.
It has in China.
It's alive.
Yeah. It's like.
It has in China, and
the game has a bunch of teams that still work on it. I wouldn't necessarily call them a thriving community, though. Although the game is still an amazing modding tool, and
yes,
and Blizzard has done a fantastic job in providing people with those tools.
So interesting enough for them to know, they literally asked the fans what would you like us to add to that game, especially the editor, right? And the editor is going to be updated with new native functions for you to just be able to make more stuff in the game, in the editor, right? And the gameplay changes also. Well, I guess I can't really speak about the gameplay changes because I don't really watch competitive and stuff like that. I'm mostly about the editor. And to me, this patch is, I guess it's kind of game changing, really, because you're going to be able to do stuff like you have mouse events. For example, when you click, you'll be able to do stuff like that. You're able to find the location of the mouse, which you couldn't do before. technically you'll be able to do so many more things. The game is gonna have widescreen support, and it will support
finally.
Oh yeah, exactly. Finally, and will support up to 24 players per map, which sounds ridiculous, but I guess it has its more specific uses, right? Like I don't a 24 player game will lag a supercomputer. Okay, so it's not going to be like a traditional 12 versus 12 or 24 player 3-4. I don't imagine. It's going to be something more specific to the more scripted maps, right?
Yeah.
Potentially a 10v10 MOBA, but even 5v5 sounds like a clusterfuck, so I don't know what they're going to do with 10v10, but there you go. It has all these new things that is added to the game. And the interesting thing here is that, well, two things. One, these function changes, these new native functions that were added, they literally ask like, ask the modding community, what functions would you like added to the game, to the editor, right? So Blizzard reached out, and yeah, and two, the patches that came before. Oh, am I being choppy?
A little bit. At least for me.
Maybe I should try to speak a bit closer. Anyway, the patches that came before sort of built up on, rewrote a bunch of code on the game, which to me is just, especially with StarCraft Remastered that came out last year. To me, this just sounds like they're readying the game so that it's gonna be ready for a remaster that will be cross-compatible.
Yeah, I think that's very much the case, because otherwise, I mean, no disrespect to the current Warcraft community, especially as you said, it's quite big in China, but all of this work, especially on the editor side, if it's not going to be used for a remaster, feels very oddly timed and kind of out of place.
I agree. And also another reason why I'm pretty like 90% sure it's going to be a remaster is because I don't see a Warcraft 4 in the next like 10 years. I do not see a Warcraft 4.
There will be no Warcraft 4 ever.
So,
as long as World of Warcraft still exists.
Yep. There might actually be a World of Warcraft 2 if I'm reaching a bit, but
maybe, but not now.
Not now.
Definitely not in the next.
Oh God, I'd love an episode of just insane speculation on what causes World of Warcraft 2 to happen. Thank you for that idea.
Well, like
fine.
There are very few instances. There are very few instances where a World of Warcraft 2 or a Warcraft 4 would be justified for Blizzard, because they make a ton of money out of World of Warcraft right now, and as long as they keep making money out of World of Warcraft, I don't think World of Warcraft is going anywhere, because it's an extremely solid engine that still works very well for them. And as long as they can keep updating on top of it and just keep adding expansion after expansion, they'll just keep doing that as long as people.
They could fix the default UI to not be shit after fucking more than 10 years, Blizzard.
Oh my God, that rant was beautiful. That I have to say. Just
you
salt.
You can listen to more rants.
On
Ludumism.com for $5.99 you can unlock 2 whole Shadowy Moon rants.
Am I DLC now? Is this
yes
the Moon DLC?
You're being turned into DLC. Your pay-per-view. You're being turned into pay-per-view.
Is this salt porn now? Just
I guess
salt porn. We need the image of the quartered lemon with salt in it.
But yeah, quick disclaimer. We just talked about how buggy and messy Vermintide 2 can be with a lot of charm. World of Warcraft is an extremely polished game, but the UI is still garbage 10 years down the fucking line, and I think it's completely inexcusable they haven't reworked it.
Damn. What a ringing endorsement. And
I played the game, I just...
yes.
Every time I download the fucking thing, I have to spend a literal day trying to get a working UI, and that's just garbage. It's not a thing that should ever happen.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But another... Do you think... Okay. Making an RTS sounds like a risky move at this point.
Making an RTS is a risky move because the market doesn't want RTSs anymore.
I guess StarCraft is sort of it's a tough thing because to me, if anyone can make an RTS, it will be Blizzard because they sort of have the reputation of monopoly on RTS.
Yeah, but they wouldn't make one right now.
It
would either be StarCraft 3 or they wouldn't make one.
No, I don't think it will be StarCraft 3. I think it will be a new fantasy IP if ever they make an RTS. Like
if it's a new IP, it will never be an RTS. If it's StarCraft 3, maybe, because they'd be banking on the StarCraft name to get them sales.
I mean, I don't think they have to bank on the StarCraft name. They can. I don't think so because Blizzard, the name Blizzard itself, like Overwatch, when it happened,
but
people
Overwatch
lost their minds.
Yeah, but Overwatch is a hero shooter.
Yeah, so what? Like the name Blizzard itself carries so much weight to it. Like if they were like, we're making a new RTS, people would die.
Keep in mind though, they decided to go with Overwatch and make a hero shooter because Titan as an IP and concept failed internal Blizzard tests after years of development.
Yeah, and then it was turned into Overwatch.
Yeah, and I think RTS is in a worse state than fucking MMOs, and Titan was going to be an MMO. So
yeah, it was. It was going to be a shooter MMO.
I really don't think Blizzard can pull off another RTS that isn't StarCraft.
Yeah.
Like they can make a Warcraft, but they never will for the reasons PowerHead stated.
Of course. Because World of Warcraft gives them all the money. Well, Hearthstone gives them all the money, but World of Warcraft comes after.
And since
wait, seriously?
Yes.
Yeah, Hearthstone is super profitable.
Oh, cool.
Keep in mind, Hearthstone was like basically internal Blizzard passion project that was literally 15 dudes just deciding to make a game.
Yeah.
And
they were supposed to make a mini game for WoW. They turned out to make the most popular online trading card game besides Magic the Gathering, of course.
Like the return on investment on Hearthstone is huge. I mean, not so much now because obviously they've added a lot more resources to it, but the initial thing was just 12 dudes on Blizzard. Yep. Yeah. 15 guys.
15 guys on Blizzard.
Damn.
That was it.
Well then.
And they made the most popular online trading card game besides Magic, like I said, and it makes them all the money. And that's why I don't think that Blizzard will ever make an RTS that isn't StarCraft because they have no reason to. There is no reason to take that kind of risk.
Yep.
The reason why I think
because they already make a ton of money.
Try at least internally try it is
they
because
could internally try it.
Look, there are a lot of people that adore the idea of war. Like I've spoken to people like I don't play StarCraft because I like fantasy. So if they have this fantasy RTS, they won't actually be cannibalizing their own audience to take them away from StarCraft into Warcraft. These people are not playing StarCraft.
I have one problem with that though. We had a recent experiment in, reviving a genre for a dedicated audience, and everyone on the fucking internet was basically saying, yeah, people love this, there's gonna be an audience, it's gonna succeed. And I'm talking about arena shooters done properly. And guess what? It failed because there is no audience.
Are you talking about Quake?
Yep.
Yeah, quick champions.
It was it's pretty much a failure. There's just not sustainable market. Quick champions.
And there was the whole thing on Steam that had like 100 people playing.
Yep.
What was the name?
I don't remember.
Something Crashers, something
Wait, Wallbreakers?
Lawbreakers. That was it.
Lawbreakers,
That was an extremely well-made, high-profile arena shooter that people were hyped about, and like we're totally gonna play it. And in the end, nobody plays it.
No, of course nobody plays it because they were fucking dumb. They were terribly stupid about it. The game was was supposed to be free to play. They then decided yes, it was. They then decided it was supposed to be.
So.
I don't remember the free-to-play bit.
I do remember that. It was supposed to be free to play. Then they decided, no, let's have a paid model so that we don't bullshit people with like any kind of microtransactions. Then the game came out and nobody played it because they needed to fork over like $30 or $40 or whatever. And people just said no. And a couple of months later, the game is now scheduled to shut down.
Oh man, that's so goddamn sad.
Obviously.
I understand all of these things are trying to say, but to me, Blizzard is an anomaly. At least when it comes to RTS, I don't know. I see what you're saying. I just think that there's still a possibility that a fantasy RTS might still work. But admittedly, StarCraft 3 sounds more marketable, right?
It's still a big risk, and
I like
Blizzard. While I agree they have unique power to create things that other companies can't pull off, they're also quite strict internally. StarCraft Ghost that could have been actually a successful game, but will be a Blizzard hit. And because it wouldn't have been a Blizzard hit, they canned it. Like they have really high expectations of what their games have to be.
Yep. So ultimately,
remember the whole.
Go on.
Remember the whole solo game that Nova was supposed to have?
Yeah, StarCraft Ghost.
Yeah, StarCraft Ghost. That didn't work out. They cancelled that, and then it became, and then it was just the episode pack for StarCraft 2.
Yep.
I wish they'd make more campaigns. They would make.
They won't make more campaigns. They
won't make more money. Like I wish they would.
Yeah, but I don't think the Nova campaign was actually that successful.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Actually,
it really wasn't. It wasn't.
Strange.
It really wasn't.
Because I found the campaign so much more fun. I replayed through all the campaigns. I had a blast.
I have no doubt that the campaign was fun. I'm just saying it wasn't successful.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but
people don't want to invest in RTS
ultimately, I don't expect Blizzard to make an RTS. To make another one, StarCraft 3 or otherwise. I don't expect them to do that, which is why, to me, a remaster makes so much sense, because they're just building on an IP that people already know and love.
But remaster, eventually Blizzard will remaster every single what they call classic games.
I'm not sure about Diablo 2.
Warcraft.
Yeah, apart from Diablo 2, if they remaster Diablo 2, they kill Diablo 3 completely.
Yeah,
like, those games have exactly the same player base, and they know that. Each other.
Yeah, but they know that. They know that. They know that if they ever remaster Diablo 2, then Diablo 3 is just dead.
Yep. I do think a Diablo 4 seems likelier.
I think it's going to be an expansion. I read somewhere that there were some copyright things about an expansion, not an actual Diablo 4, just an expansion. So I think that soon.
Are you talking about the Switch thing?
No, there was.
If an expansion is going to come out, it's probably going to be the Druid as a character.
Yeah, exactly. There was some talk about some copyrights that Blizzard had registered that pointed towards an expansion with the Druid class.
I can see expansion still coming to the game, but ultimately, if any of these three franchises are gonna get a sequel, the first is gonna be Diablo. At least this is
Yeah.
what it looks like
Yeah.
to me.
No.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the most likely.
Mm.
Yes. Because StarCraft 2 for anything StarCraft related, they need to either make something before StarCraft 1 or something after, or something completely different after the end of StarCraft 2.
Yeah,
Or
this
they'd
is
actually
this is what I think
or
is interesting about StarCraft 2 is that they reached the point where they sort of closed the story arc they started in StarCraft 1. And to me this is a good thing because all their stories for Diablo, Warcraft and StarCraft had the same sort of thread weaving through them. It was like, oh, big badass evil. Like someone put it very sort of like StarCraft has Space Devil, Warcraft has Fantasy Devil, Diablo has Devil. You know.
To be fair, Warcraft no longer has Fantasy Devil.
Yeah. Well, World of Warcraft story, I recently got back into Legion as a like kind of unrelated thing, but they've actually started making good strides on the story progress.
Yes,
And
finally.
they've started to actually try to diverge from their, the Blizzard story, as you pointed
Mm.
out in every press.
Yeah.
I think the franchise that suffered the most from the Blizzard story was actually StarCraft.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Holy shit!
Legacy of the Void. Yeah, I
Ah.
knew it.
But now that this story is over, it's like you said to me way back, Moon. They now have the freedom to just make a more, not to say casual, but it's just like a less sort of monumental sci-fi story. They can just
Yep.
start having fun with the universe, right?
Yeah.
But
Now
I
that
don't
the
know.
medicine force is no longer in control.
The medicine force.
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry, Chris Madsen. You're probably a great person, but holy shit, do I hate you as a writer? And I absolutely hate that you shove the same themes and characters in every way you touch, everything you touch, in such a terrible, ham-fisted way. Just please, I'm so glad it's done. Thank you.
Thank you. But yeah, funny how we're talking about anything Blizzard, any Blizzard franchise turns into a discussion on Blizzard itself.
It's kind of inevitable.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah,
Although
so go.
it's also telling how we completely forgot Heroes of the Storm is a thing.
That is so true.
Okay, here's the thing. Heroes of the Storm is a good MOBA, but I don't think I don't think it takes itself very seriously.
Man,
Like,
it's
they have
trying
some very
to.
neat
And
they
I
have
think
some very neat they have some very neat design ideas.
Yeah.
They have some very neat hero ideas, and the whole thing works pretty well for the majority. Like despite some stumbles from their design team once in a while, like the maps are all fairly good and balanced. The heroes are all fairly good and balanced. But I don't know. I think there's something about heroes that doesn't grab people. People sometimes call it like casuals of the storm. You know,
Yep.
'Cause I don't know. I think there's something that's holding back the game, and I don't know what, but like the game is fun to play. I've had very little situations where even though like the match isn't going at well, I can't really say I'm not enjoying it, because like the heroes are enjoyable to play, like, and the maps are all fun to play. They all have neat mechanics, and they force you to play around your team and the map itself and all that, and it's really fun. But there's something that's missing in Heroes.
Yep.
I'm not sure what it is. I think, and I had a discussion with a friend over this, because we were playing League, and we were like talking about how Riot handles the whole leveling thing and skill points and all that, and he made a point where he believed that every single champion, because it was the whole the jungler just farms jungle and then he goes bot and he has more XP than bot lane. He has his ultimate, so people can get an easy kill on bot. And it's supposed to be the hardest that lane to gank, and it turns out to be the easiest because you're ahead simply from the fact that you're alone and bot isn't. So his idea was everyone in a MOBA should have just have like the same XP. Like everyone's at level 1, then level 2, 3, 4, etc., etc.
Like heroes.
Like heroes, yeah.
No, but Heroes doesn't do that, because Heroes has this thing, because like it's one thing in League when like a hero is ahead and has his ultimate first to you. In Heroes, every single member of a team gets the ultimate first than the other one if they're ahead.
Yeah, in Heroes,
So
it's not your ahead; it's your team is ahead.
It's your team is ahead. So it's like. So I think it's something to do with this. I think this is what holds Heroes back, because it's like when you're ahead in Heroes, it's very hard to go. It's very hard to go back. Like if you're ahead, you just snowball all the time. Because if you're ahead in Heroes, you just won. Because there's no way they can stop you now. Especially when you reach the point where you're like level 10, everyone has their ultimates now. They're still level 9. Any fight that happens, you win. Period. Because it's 5 people with their ultimate now. It's not like in League where like maybe 1 or 2 guys have their ultimates and the rest don't yet. But like in Heroes, every single person has their ults now. And
I'd say what that boils down to is Blizzard, in their attempt to make a really casual, super team focused, easy to access game, they forgot the biggest problem of MOBAs, which is that people are really shit at working as a team.
Yeah.
And Heroes is extremely easy to play. Well, most characters are extremely easy to play, especially if you have MOBA experience as a player. But the demand for team coordination just to do basic shit in Heroes is actually higher than most MOBAs.
Yeah.
And because it's really accessible, and a lot of people just decide to try it as their first MOBA and have no idea how the team dynamics work, you have a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And it forces you to do objectives, and it forces you, like, you cannot solo carry a game of Heroes.
Yep.
No way.
And the matchmaking, at least when I played it on and off multiple times, wasn't there yet. It makes for very frustrating experience, even though Blizzard have the best intentions of accessibility and whatnot. But I could probably write a fucking PhD thesis on everything wrong with the MOBA genre, and every single fucking game in there would have 20 pages of shit it does wrong. It needs to be fixed. But that's another probably 10 podcasts if I have to go there.
Oh my god. Okay, so Warcraft patch 1.29 will leave PTR, I guess, at the end of this month, or maybe it's just
probably
it's gonna leave PTR eventually, and when it does,
when it's ready,
yes, when it's soon TM, and when it's done, you'll know. So
and watch this space for possible Warcraft news, because this can't just be a random one-off patch.
Yeah.
Nope, definitely
I
isn't.
don't think it though,
because they've been building on that. This patch, this is not the first of patches after a while. Like the 1.27 came after years of just nothing, right? And it didn't really add anything. Yeah, you couldn't concrete. You couldn't really figure out what did they change. What did you change? It wasn't any gameplay. Nothing. They were just rewriting backend code. Right. At least this is how I can sort of describe it. So the game, I tried the game in PTR, and it feels like it runs a lot smoother, right? And it might have something to do with the fact that it runs at a higher frame rate now. So it just the game is just it's getting better, right? It's like 15-year-old game. It's getting better. So stuff's happening, and I can bet my right hand that a remaster is gonna be coming soon. Maybe in like when did it came out? 2020, 22. Wait, what? 2002.
2002. And Frozen Throne on 2003.
Yeah, so maybe 2022, 2023, something's gonna happen.
Man, we're in a fucking weird time where a 15-year-old game gets a patch. A game from 2002 is possibly gonna get a remastered. StarCraft got a remastered after 10 years or more. Meanwhile, new IPs die, like are released and die, new games in less than a year.
Yes,
Like, holy
so
shit,
weird.
Do we have both extremes going on
Oh
right
my
now?
god! Yep.
Pretty much.
And
That's true.
man, like this is why your game should have mods.
It's a very interesting and possibly very scary time to be both a gamer and a games developer.
Yep. Speaking of new games.
Yes.
New games. New
Well,
games.
Power, you have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now give you Disappointment in a Can. Provided by Valve itself. It's the brand new, we're trying to cash in, but not really because we're actually trying. Game of the Year.
That is not Half-Life
3. Boo! Not Half-Life 3, boo!
I can't do a golf clap while using push to talk. God damn it.
Yay! Who's excited for card games?
I mean,
Card games.
Yeah, card games! Dota card games!
Card games.
oh my Dota, not any card game,
It's
Dota card
time
games.
to crash the market. All right, so Artifact. Now here's the fun little things about Artifact. When this was announced, I just thought this was going to be a lot like Hearthstone, because it was Valve making like a trading card game. Then these details came out last week.
Yep.
So the game will not be free to play. You will need to buy the game.
Yep.
How much?
The game will then also they have no
No
price
idea.
set.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
The game is going to have microtransactions in. You will probably be able to buy card packs and all
God damn
that.
it.
Yep.
And not only this, but this is the crash the market part, because this is going to get freaky after a while, I'm sure of it. You will be able to trade individual cards through the Steam market.
Uh-huh.
Oh, and did I mention it's being developed by the guy who did Magic the Gathering?
Oh yeah.
Well then, this is either a recipe for an extremely well-polished card game or a recipe for the ultimate disaster of Valve. Now, I, for one, have no idea what to think of this because I don't really fucking care.
Cool.
I'm just like, the only thing I have to say at this point is this. I don't like the fact that it's buy to play, and I don't like the fact that it's buy to play and has microtransactions.
Yep.
Apart from that, I don't know if the game's gonna be good or not. Probably. I mean, it's Valve working with the guy from Magic. I mean, it's probably gonna be a good card game, but I wouldn't know.
One thing that really stands out to me is it's Magic was never successfully replicated online, partly because Wizards of the Coast.
Well, you do have Magic Online. Like the actual Magic Online, the extremely slow, extremely boring. It's basically the paper game online. It's literally just the paper game online. Like there's no fancy graphics there or anything.
Yeah, possibly one of the worst technical implementations I've seen.
Pretty much, but it works and it's there.
I guess.
And it's cheaper
Well, yes, but
Well,
Yes.
what the thing with Magic is, card trading is inherently a part of Magic,
Yes.
and Valve are pretty much the only company I can think of that are positioned in a way and have the infrastructure, Steam, have the tools, and have the know-how and experience to make a real digital collectible card game with card trading as a thing. Well, fine, not even collectible card game, trading card game, I guess.
Hmm.
It's like if anyone can pull this off successfully, it would be them because they have Steam.
they have all the money.
There are like the only thing that concerns me with the whole artifact trading card thing is like uh when they released the floodgates in the Steam market, you got like skins from CS:GO being sold at like exorbitant prices of $6,000. So it's like, um, and that concerns me a bit because it's like in a card game, especially if you're paying money to play it, like you want things to be completely fair, right? But if a card's going to have more value than another, this is why like Hearthstone and Shadowverse and Gwent and most trading card games don't have individual trade because it's like although some cards some cards are better than others, there's always ways to craft them or make them, or like you can exchange your own cards into that card,
I mean,
'Cause-
yeah,
and it's
but
like in Artifact, if you're going to be trading cards individually, there's not going to be like a dust system where you can create cards from nothing. That's not going to exist. If you're going to be able to trade individual cards, there's no fucking way that they're going to allow you to just pick a card and create it. So like,
they
so
might.
no, of course they won't. It would ruin the fucking market. What's the point of having the fucking market then?
They might give you other options. Like one thing is they've CS:GO is like completely unregulated. Why I have some faith is with Dota, they actually have been getting less greedy as time goes on, and the value you can get now for like buying an international pass for an X amount of money compared to the value you can get from just a chest or a wood box when Dota 2 was launching, exponentially more things to the point where they had a contract deal, well, kind of contract deal with workshop creators. Workshop creators are now, well, at least as of last international, I haven't followed it too closely, are just not getting enough money because all the skins and everything is so fucking cheap, and you get so much for your money when you buy Dota stuff. At least from skin perspective, it's still digital skins that are inherently worthless, but you just get more of it. So, like, if they wanted to milk Dota really fucking hard, especially with it being quite popular in China, they could have, but they didn't go that path. So, like with Artifact, I think they're more interested in just, and part of the reason why they would hire the Richard Garfield, the MTG guy, they
Want to
really
make a good
want to
game.
make this system for the trading card game. If they want to see if they can put that online as a game, and at least for the start, I bet they'd be willing to make some concessions on profitability to get this going. And also, it's Valve. They have Steam. They could never release another game in 100 years and still be a profitable company.
Do you think?
Well,
Do you think this is sort of like they're trying to build a frame because there's this like aspect where you can trade the cards on Steam.
Yep.
Do you think they're just trying to make like a framework for future card games? Future
They
developers
could.
that want to make a card
If it,
game and use
yeah,
the trading system integrated into
if
Steam.
if it works well, they definitely will do it. The other thing
Hmm.
is because it's a Dota thing, they are totally going to follow Blizzard's cross-game promotion system and have do this thing in Dota to get
God.
artifact cards, do
Why
this
Blizzard?
artifact shit to get Dota skins. It's going to happen.
Oh, yep. I think you're right.
Yep, definitely.
Well,
Like,
I don't play
it's
card
certainly
games, so
it's not the Valve game I wanted. It's not even. I'm not that much into card games in general. But just
I don't know. I don't into that.
the thing is, a design and technology experiment is extremely interesting to me.
Well, look, the whole price thing and the trading card thing concern me. I have no doubt that it's going to be a great game. Like, if you have the Magic guy and Valve behind it, it's definitely going to be a good game. Probably will be a good game. Like, I'm mostly just concerned about how it will affect the Steam trading will affect the game itself over time. I'm not saying that the game will suffer immensely from it at launch, or even like a couple of weeks after, or even like a couple of months after. But eventually, there will come a point where as more and more cards get added into the game, there's going to be a point where things might go sour for it. And like,
probably.
I mean, like, that concerns me a bit. As far as gameplay, I have no doubt it's going to be fantastic and well polished and and it's going to be amazing, and people are going to play it and it's like, yeah, this feels pretty good to play, and it's good. It feels great to do this thing with this card and all that. I have no doubt about that.
It certainly looks quite different to the offerings we've had so far, with the Reigns, and it's borrowing heavily from Dota mechanics. So even though the market is flooded, it's definitely going to be a new interesting thing. But yeah, I also have some concerns about longevity and the marketing working out. Yeah. But I'm very curious to see how this goes, more so from a design and technology perspective than as an actual card game. Like, I don't really care too much about card games, but I'm very curious how Valve handle this.
Yeah. We'll see. I guess I have concerns. Maybe things will work out differently than what I'm expecting them to. We'll see. It'll be a good game. That's all there is to. That's all there really is to say about it. It'll probably be a good game. They'll either fuck it up immensely, or it's going to be a good game.
Yep. One interesting thing I wanted to highlight is the recent news we got of Artifact were from an event where Gabe Newell himself was presenting it, and much like with Blizzard, with Valve as well, every time you discuss a Valve game, you more or less have to discuss Valve itself. Yeah. So if you're just curious about the company and how things have been going, check out the coverage on Artifact. Especially, I've been reading the Ars Technica article. It's very interesting in terms of Valve's design and process and how they approached Artifact as a thing. For example, the one thing that was quite curious to me is they didn't initially consider Dota as, a natural fit. They said it could have been pretty much anything. It could have been a Team Fortress game. It could have been a new IP. They're very much approaching it from a design and technology perspective first, and then putting what fits on top of that, as a finishing touch and just lore and IP. And they supposedly Artifact's development actually began before Hearthstone even existed, which is quite curious. Like, this has been a thing long in the making, apparently.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
At least so they claim.
Oh. Well, I don't play card games, so.
I'll stick with my Gwent.
Shall we wrap this up?
Yeah, we should. We've, as usual, overrun our time.
We always overrun our time.
We need to reduce the number of topics.
No, we don't. We need to add more topics.
I will-
24-hour live
24-hour
podcast.
live podcast. Now available
Suka,
on
brat.
Twitch and pay-per-view. Oh,
Suka.
yeah.
Suka Bled sounds like an appropriate sentiment.
Suka,
Yep.
блядь. Сука, блядь. Oh,
Alright.
давай.
Cool.
Урод, блядь.
Okay.
So
okay.
let's do the endorsements and then we can get out of here. I can go to
Yep.
bed. It's 2
I'm not
a.m.
getting paid. I'm not getting paid for this shit.
Please buy Powerhead Rats so
No
he
one
can
is
Yes,
get
getting paid
that's
for
my
this.
that's my endorsement. Buy me hats. No, I have an
damn it.
actual one. I'm
Yeah.
not a complete whore.
Your e-begging has leveled up.
Yes,
Okay, so
Barter has
endorsements.
leveled up.
Endorsements. Go. I will go last. Power.
Oui?
What do you endorse?
I will endorse an MMO. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Is this the new World of Warcraft expansion?
No, it's not the new World of Warcraft.
Okay, good.
expansion.
Is it World of Warcraft 2?
No, it's not World of Warcraft 2.
Oh.
It's on Steam. It's Neverwinter.
Free to play.
Yeah, it's free to play. I have been playing it the past week and this week, and I've been having a blast with it. The game is developed by Cryptic, the same guys that did the Star Trek Online, and and something else that people used to play. And it's published by Perfect World. It's an MMO based on the Forgotten Realms setting, and it's really fun. It has an action combat system. It has a bunch of activities for you to do, and they're all pretty fun. And the game, even though being a bit clunky at times with the whole, well, clearly the cinematic team got a huge budget cut. But apart from that, the game is extremely entertaining. The leveling is extremely well paced. The content is well streamlined. It has a bunch of content for endgame, a bunch of expansions. They recently released a new expansion for the game, and they're going to keep adding expansions for the game. The game is still incredibly popular, and it hasn't lost most of its player base since launch. So it's
What I'm
it's been
really
pretty good.
curious, does it actually use the Dungeons and Dragons franchise, and particularly Forgotten Realms lore properly?
Yes. You have the Spell Plague. You have the Whole Gods there. You have known characters like Brunner Battlehammer, Dritz Duurden. You have the crazy druid guy with the hamster, which I forgot the name of. He's also
hamster.
a popular. Boo, yes,
Yeah.
which is a well-known character in the Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms setting. So the lore is there, the characters are there, the settings all there. It's if you're into like Forgotten Realms or just Dungeons and Dragons, I say give it a try. If you're into fantasy MMOs, just give it a try.
What
very
kind
good
of
game.
confuses me with Neverwinter is that DDO still exists.
Yes, DDO still exists, but DDO has a different setting than Neverwinter.
True, but it's
and
still
and it's also made by a different team.
yes, and it's very much not a traditional MMO. DDO
Yeah,
it is.
not at all. True.
But even when Neverwinter was announced, I was still confused. Like, DDO exists. Why is this happening?
Well, because like it's different. It's a different take on the virtual D&D thing in MMO format. And I think it works pretty well, and people should give it a try.
All right then.
There you go.
Moon.
Well, what I wanted to endorse originally was Vermintide, but I think I already gave that a pretty good endorsement during our Vermintide section.
Yep.
So what I will actually endorse instead, and what I realized during the podcast, is I will endorse just trying out new things in gaming, getting out of your comfort zone, trying genres that you're not really big into. Like, I don't like survival games. It took me quite a bit of poking around Subnautica to decide if I will enjoy this and I really want to actually buy it. The Forest was also another thing I was extremely skeptical about. And they were actually really interesting experiences, even if I didn't end up playing that much of The Forest. It did things that I was not expecting a game to do. It made me look at other games in a slightly different light. And it's more of just a reminder, like with any other kind of entertainment and media you consume, it's always good to occasionally go out of your comfort zone and check out something that you think you might not like. You might be proven wrong. You might find something interesting that you like for reasons you didn't even think you'd like about games. Or you might be completely right and have a better confirmation and idea of what your tastes are. But it's always a useful thing to do every once in a while.
Agreed.
So that's my endorsement. Get out of your comfort zone and try more games.
There we go.
Did you just convert to Buddhism or something? What the fuck?
I don't know. It's just a random thing that dawned on me while we were discussing Blizzard and Valve and weird
This
things.
is what happens when you say things positive. Positive things, people get confused.
Yep.
Yes, very confused.
Well, it's not gonna happen again soon, so there you go. That was it.
Okay.
Some positivity from the moon. What is this? Where have I landed? Is this the fifth plane of existence?
We've landed on the moon.
Nope. Nope.
There you go.
Tis chaos magic.
It might be. Too much Vermintide infected by Nurgle.
Yep.
As for me, I will endorse a YouTube channel called Isaac Arthur. If you're interested in science fiction or just futurism, this channel will fulfill your desires. He's Yep. The videos are quite long, like 30-minute, 20-minute, maybe even longer, but the guy gets very in-depth and it really explains things very clearly and very it's like a natural thought process almost, like the way he just explains the videos, like, right? It just makes sense when he explains these things. And he touches on subjects like why don't we see aliens, like the Fermi paradox, or what would a civilization at the end of the end of the universe look like, or what would things are a bit more down to earth, sort of like what would superstructures that orbit a planet look like, what would the physics involved be like, you know. It's like the guy talks to scientists like NASA people, aerospace engineers.
It's kind of like Vsauce. Vsauce doesn't really get that much in depth, but they do explain stuff
sort of, but I don't know, I guess his Vsauce is a bit more like nerd stuff in general, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But for him is more focused on the sort of sci-fi / futurism stuff. It's very interesting, very enlightening. So I heartily recommend this channel. Also, I recommend you watch the newest Jumanji movie, because I guess that's cheating what I'm about to say, but it's actually a good video game movie.
Oh my god.
Jumanji?
Jumanji.
The
One
rock
of these
thing
days
with...
we're gonna have a movie podcast and it will be complete disaster. Holy shit.
Yes, and then we'll have a politics podcast.
And that will also be a complete disaster.
This will never happen. This will never happen. This will never happen. This will never happen, Powerhead. Understand? I will never have a politics podcast. Never in a million years. Ever. I endorse not having a politics podcast.
Oh, there you go. Futurism and no politics.
And no politics.
And
what is your opinion on the politics? No, friend. The secret to being happy is never get
watch the latest Jumanji. It's a great video game movie. Also, The Last Jedi was shit. Thank you for listening to
Oh my god! What the? Why?
This was not a movie podcast sponsored
This
by
was not a
Spellbound.
movie podcast.
Thank you for watching. For listening to
Watching?
our-
What are we
Thank you
watching?
for not watching this not movie podcast.
Are you quite finished?
Yes.
Thank you for listening to Ludum's episode 10. I've been Spellbound. And,
No, you are Spellhead, I am the Power Bond, and there's Moon.
oh my god.
Just the
Thank
movie.
you for listening. Good night.
Bye,
Goodbye.
Mira!